And just like anything else, starting out, it's a lot of chaos and it's a lot of things to keep track of. But people who actually do it over and over again are.
Hello, manifestors. We all wonder about the laws of creation and the possibilities in the universe. We often question ourselves if what are we trying to manifest can become a reality or not. We want to manifest things that we can control, like money, abundance, prosperity, etc. Things that we somewhere know that there is a 0.1% of possibility for it to become a reality, and then we work on it and create it for ourselves. But can you imagine the possibility of getting out of a genetic disorder through the use of the law of attraction? What are the things that someone could use that could change the genetic functioning of their body? Can the law of attraction help in any way in overcoming those genetic limitations? This is the story about such a woman who healed herself with the help of Dr. Joe Dispenza, a woman in Cancun who was suffering from a chronic genetic disorder that impaired her vision completely. She was told by the experts in that field, after several years of tests and medication, that her condition could not be changed. It was a genetic disorder and she had to live with it forever. But something changed when she took it upon herself to make the change happen.
Important thing, and you'll learn this if you ever have the opportunity, Barry, to come to a week-long or a progressive event. It's so important for us to get beyond ourselves. That is the number one thing we want to do. We want to kind of shut down the mechanism, the thinking brain, for a period of time, and overcome our connection to our body and its habits and emotions and its drives, to get beyond all the elements in our life that we respond emotionally to and put our attention on, and get beyond that outer world, the environment, and settle into the present moment. And you practice the work, you know the difference in a period of time when you're there and when you're not. And that's what I really like about our week-long events, is that people finally find that place, that unknown, that place called the unknown, and they're really comfortable in it. And so for the people who are righteous at heart, that really want to truly change and transform, the question isn't how long or what, how long you should do it. It's how long is it going to take for you to overcome you and find that present moment. And for me, sometimes it takes me an hour. But I just know that if I do find that present moment and it took me an hour, the rest of my day is way different than if I didn't. And I think we learn that over time. So we've discovered that if you could practice doing that over and over again, you can get really good at it, and you actually enjoy the process and want to just linger there and stay there. And in that state, you get really super relaxed and super awake or super creative. And we've discovered that formula of brain and heart coherence being this beautiful dance between the two. So I'm certain that it's not the meditation also, the particular meditation that would be the very thing that would be the one thing that Vera did in order to heal or change. Is that I just know that there are people that are so committed in this work that if they don't feel like they've truly overcome themselves, and no medicine, no doctor, no diet, no exercise is changing their health condition, and they throw themselves all in with this process, if they don't feel like they've actually done it well enough, they'll do it again. Not because they think that doing it as many times as they could is going to get them there. It's just that when they finish their meditation, they want to believe in their future more than they believe in their past. And some people do this work and they get up believing less in their future than believing more in their future, and And that's something that we really have to work on. So the person who gets up as a different person, a person who gets up emotionally in a different state, the person who gets up who's thinking differently, who's in a different state of being, who's changed their energy, you keep practicing that, it gets easier. And just like anything else, starting out, it's a lot of chaos and it's a lot of things to keep track of, but people who actually do it over and over again are able to do it in a shorter amount of time. And not that time has anything to do with it, it's just that they like rebooting in that way. So it's not the length of time that matters, and it's not even the meditation, because Vera did all of the meditations at the week-long event, and I'm certain she really changed her belief from changing beliefs and perceptions. I'm sure she's done other meditations as well. And what I've learned from people in our community that do stand on the stage and tell their story, it wasn't about their healing. It was about what they had to change about themselves on a regular basis to heal. And so this happens at week-long events. People, doing the 20-minute morning and evening meditation. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with it. Or they're doing, a shorter meditation. They come to a week-long, and now they love doing the work. The 20-minute thing just isn't enough for them. They just want to go deeper. They want to surrender more. They want to connect more. They want to open their heart more. They want to create more brain coherence. They want to linger in theta. They want the mystical. They want all those things because that's the life they're creating. That's the life they're actually creating by showing up every day and modifying their behaviors. So I learned from those people on the stage that it wasn't any particular meditation. It was just for them. It was just, how many ways can I continue to change and not respond to the same things in my life in the same emotional ways? So that they had to start practicing also with their eyes open, because one meditation for an hour against 15 hours of the remaining part of the day in fear or lack or pain or sadness does nothing to heal the body. That's what the body knows. It's familiar. It's the known. So it's a constant process, and the people who truly stay at it understand they just got to keep changing. They'll tell you, I'm just working on opening my heart more. I'm just working on my responses to people. I'm just catching myself and staying conscious. The meditations become even more influential because the purpose of the meditation is to remember, to remember who you are and not forget. And then when you open your eyes, don't let your environment control your thoughts and feelings. And many people, that's the big one. That's the big one in the healing process, because now they got to get really good at it with their eyes open, just like they've been practicing with their eyes closed and stay conscious. And if you do, you start seeing those changes in your life, and that's when the meditations all of a sudden become fun, and you want to keep doing them because you want to keep experiencing the emotions of whatever it is you're creating. So getting going, though, sitting with ourselves, I think, and overcoming ourselves is really what meditation is about. So remembering who we do want to be and remembering who we no longer want to be, staying conscious of not going unconscious, and staying conscious of who we want to be until we ultimately unconsciously become that person. So, and then the process goes on. We doubt most when we have to step out into the unknown. And stepping out into the unknown, there's a lot of uncertainty, and just the human being in its program for survival. You don't trust when you're in stress and in survival. That heart center kind of closes down, and because of it, we're left with just a limited amount of resources. And so the vision that we're holding for the future disappears because the emotion that's associated with those survival chemicals causes us to predict the worst case scenario in our mind instead of the outcome we're intending. And God, we all do this. And when we do that, we compare that reality that we're emotionally experiencing against the future that we're working on creating, and it just has a stronger emotion, so we pay more attention to that future, and we doubt that, and we doubt in that other one, and this is an enormous amount of energy and awareness to be able to reverse this. And why? Because when we step into the unknown, we lose control. We can't predict. We have the perception then, when we're in the unknown, to typically go to the worst case scenario. Things are going to get worse. And it's that very, very, very quick switch to cause us to move out of balance and move into emergency, and to really prepare for that outcome, the worst outcome. Because you prepare for the worst, get ready for the worst thing, and if you're ready for the worst, you'll survive. And so people spend their whole life doing this, and they could be in their known world, in their familiar world, in execute confidence in the things that they know how to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then if the person's faced with a chronic health condition, or if they're faced with a serious issue in their life, or they want to change something about themselves, or they want to create something new, you got to step out into the unknown. And when you do that, it's so much easier to forget what we're creating than to remember it. That's because we're going against a lot of circuitry in the brain that's devoted to the past, and a lot of emotions that we've memorized that keep our bodies in the past. And so the default is really natural, and it's really quick. And God, we all know this, everybody that's sincere in this work. So then the mindset that has to be created, and this is the way I think about it. You have to install a mind in your meditations, and to remind yourself every single day what you're going to do when you reach that moment of doubt, because there's only one of two choices: default, and then just analyze, why am I doubting, why am I, all of that goes on. Or if you build and install the hardware and keep revisiting it and keep reminding yourself, you'll actually install the mind and its reflection biologically in the brain, and it's a footprint that you get to step into. And in the moment when you're in the unknown, this is the moment where you need that mindset. You need to trust, and you got to go against, and you got to build that mind, and you got to go against the old mind, and you got to go beyond those emotions, and you got to be able to self-regulate. And there's nothing wrong with having doubt. God, everybody does. It's just that moment is a really important moment for a person who's truly interested in creating a different outcome in their life. And this is the very lonely moment for people, because no one can relate with you in that moment, because you're in the unknown, and nothing you're going to say nothing anybody's going to say is going to change anything for you. You're just going to have to believe in you in that moment. And so the default is a quick return to the familiar, and we doubt in the outcome. But really, the other option really is to stand in the present moment. And if you believe you're eternal, you got a long time to figure this out. And let me just take a moment here, and let me remember that let me get in that mindset again, where I no longer doubt. And what would that feel like if I was, what is that feeling? Courageous, invincible, unlimited, empowered. Let me find that right here, and let's change that. And I'm not doing it to produce any outcome yet. I'm just doing it because that would be more loving to myself than the alternative, if I truly, really wanted to evolve my experience. And so I think doubt also can be rectified in many ways when you break down what you understand and rebuild it again. I do this all the time. I ask myself, what do you know? Like, what do you know? What do you know? And it's fundamentally important for me to answer that question. And sometimes I have to revisit information. I have to review quantum physics again and get my mind wrapped around this whole concept of multiverses and this whole concept of energy and frequency, and how we're just sponges in a void if there was no light and nothing material. God, I mean, like, I have to revisit the neuroscience, rebuild the understanding. And I think that when we see the testimonials and we study the research even that we're doing right now, or you're reviewing the content, when you really understand the content really well and you can associate it with the act, it becomes really instrumental for the person, because the information and the preparation for the act is going to cause them to assign meaning to what they're doing. And when you assign meaning to what you're doing, you switch on your prefrontal cortex, and its job is to silence any circuits in the brain that have to do with doubt. It just lowers the volume to any different cycles of thinking that keeps the person in the same state. The person's saying, I want meaning out of this act. Now I understand what I'm doing, and I want to produce an outcome. And so information and knowledge, breaking it down and rebuilding it up again, it's so much better than talking about all the mindless stuff that people are currently talking about. Get the concept down. If you don't understand epigenetics and you want to heal, you got to understand that you can signal a gene with an emotion, and if you really do want to heal, you can't get up feeling sad or did it work. You got to get up in a different state. You got to get up as if it's already happened. That's a state that signals the body, and the repetition of that lowers the mind and the body that's associated with doubt to a different level, and the elevated emotion begins to reset the baseline for the emotion of the past that's been stored in the body, and man, there's a big signaling mechanism that goes on, and so self-doubt can literally be diminished. It's not that you doubt; it's that what you do with it that matters the most. And many people that stood on the stage, some of them said, I had a lot of doubt when I began, and other people said, I just knew that this is what I needed to do for me. I just knew it. No one was going to tell me it couldn't work. No one was going to tell me that. I just knew that this is what I needed to do. That kind of conviction is a strong signal to the body, and so it matters the most, really, when we're stepping out into the unknown, and we have to trust in that future, and keep one foot in the real world and one foot in the quantum world. You got to balance both. You got to be between worlds. You got to be able to straddle both worlds and be practical.
Dr. Joe Dispenza is an enthusiast who promotes people to use the law of attraction to achieve all the goals they can ever dream of. This woman from Cancun is an example of determination and belief in the quantum field and the universe. She achieves her goals with the help of Dr. Joe Dispenza. When she truly believed in what she was doing, she believed in the power within herself and the power of the universe. She worked with dedication and conviction every single day to re-experience the same feeling, and allowed it to get incorporated within her genetic model and being. Even when the change was not happening, she did not give up on herself and the process. Her consistency and belief in the vision that she was creating was strong and powerful. She continued her transformation to free herself from the past. She worked daily to create an environment that would affect the genetic functioning and help in modifying it. The moment she started noticing the small changes gave her the boost that amplified the creation of her desire. She worked herself to a new and heightened state of emotion that led her into a new future, a new body with improved genetic functioning. Please hit the like button to accept the blessings of the universe into your life. Subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos. We will meet you again in the next one. Blessings.